Welcome to another episode of Money Moves with Debt Rescue. In today's episode, we're going to talk budget, but one specific section of the budget, namely the expenses. We've spoken about budget, how you set up your budget, your income, your deductions, and then, of course, your living expenses and debt. But expenses, as we said before, is the opportunity where we can make some changes to that budget. So today we're going to explore opportunities in those expenses where we can maybe make some changes, free up a little bit of cash, and maybe learn some smart, savvy tips on how to go shopping. So as much as differentiating between wants and needs when it comes to entering into debt, it's also important to look at them when it comes to your expenses every single month. Understanding that a need is a roof over your head, electricity, and paying for the school fees. A want is more going out to dinner, getting a takeout, or buying the latest fashion. So understanding that very important thing right up front is going to already help us a heck of a lot in our budgets. When we start looking at the expenses, is to go back to the bank statement. Your bank statement shows you where you swiped your card, where you withdrew some money, and also gives you a nice indication of where you could potentially have not used that card or entered into some form of credit agreement or just a regular expense that could have saved you a bit of money every single month in your budget. Another opportunity on the bank statement is insurances. Insurances are one of those grudge purchases that we have to have because we never know when we're going to need them. But it's important to remember that there are lots of opportunities and a lot of variety and options available out there. Cheaper isn't necessarily better, but it's important that you do an apple with apple comparison when you are shopping around. There's a lot of comparative websites and a lot of advertising happening with a huge variety of options available. Shop around, phone around, make sure you understand this fine print of things like excess, but a lot of opportunity to potentially do some savings on your insurance premiums monthly. So as we're all very well aware, every single year we have those dreaded electricity price increases. And this year is no different, and I'm sure it's not going to be for quite some time. So opportunity to reduce some expenses when it comes to electricity. The basics start with switch off those lights the moment you leave a room. Don't leave the television on, don't leave things plugged in unnecessarily. Every little bit draws electricity. And go and look at that geyser, especially as we head into the colder months. Look at the temperature that your thermostat has been set at. Is it at its maximum? Could you possibly reduce it a bit? Remembering that your geyser can make up to 40% of your total electricity spend every single month. So look at investing in a blanket to wrap around your geyser, keep it warmer, because every single time that you use warm water, it fills up with cold water again and electricity gets used to keep that temperature up high. Also, look at the possibility of investing in a timer for your geyser. There are a couple of opportunities when it comes to grocery shopping every month or week, whenever it is you do your shopping, that you can plan a bit better and hopefully get some savings there. The first one is to make a list before you go shopping. It's very tempting when you're standing in the shops and you look at an item on special and you can't remember whether you actually have it in your pantry or not, that you end up buying something that potentially you have 2 or 3 of at home already. Most of us have community papers that come out weekly, which give us that whole list of different shops and all the specials that they have for the week. Use that as your opportunity to do some comparative shopping to see which items are on special. Don't buy items just because they're on special if it's not something you use, but also make sure that if you plan on your spending, that you don't go to a couple of shops that are in different venues. Try and keep them together, because with the cost of fuel as it is currently, you could end up spending your saving just in transport at the end of the day. Another tip when it comes to shopping is don't shop on an empty stomach. Everything on the shelf looks tempting, things you wouldn't even normally consider if you're hungry. If you stick to your list, when you get to the till, triple check that you have everything in your basket that was on the list and that a couple of items haven't snuck into your basket or trolley as you were walking through the aisles. And finally, don't shop on credit when it comes to food. At all costs, try and avoid it. If your intention is to get loyalty rewards or something to that effect with your store card or your store credit card or your credit card, make sure that you pay that back as quickly as possible, because you do not want to consume something before you've even paid for it. Another good one to remember is those loyalty cards. Most of the stores these days have loyalty cards, not the credit card, but the loyalty one, where you swipe it and can either get some cash back, immediate discounts, or maybe vouchers every quarter. It's important that you make sure that you have these cards with you, or even better yet, if you have a smartphone, download their apps, then you can just show the app as opposed to having a wallet full of cards. But making sure also that when you've gathered all these discounts and vouchers, that you use them before they expire. A fun opportunity to make budget go a little bit further is to involve the kids or even just yourself in planting a veggie garden. There are a lot of vegetables that are quite easy to grow, very hardy, and definitely help cut down on the bill when it comes to your groceries every month. Items such as spinach, tomatoes, and green peppers are easy growers, and even if you don't have a green thumb, you probably still will have some success. And there's nothing more satisfying than when you're preparing a meal and you're using ingredients that you grew all by yourself. We hope that some of our tips today were of some value and help you to save a few rand every single month in your budget. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and please comment below if you have any tips on how we can make our budgets go further every month.